Good afternoon. My name is Leon Miller. I'm here to talk about Chapter 5, Conflict Management. And I chose case study 24, Who Needs Lesson Plans, as the case study that I'll review and apply different strategies I learned in this particular chapter. To summarize case study 24, Who Needs Lesson Plans, basically it's about two teachers and a principal. Ms. Green, who has over 14 years of teaching experience, was observed by her building principal. And in her observation, it was great. She was well organized. Her students were on task. Everything was together. She knew where she was going. And she was effective in her instruction. However, when she was asked about her lesson plans, she informed her principal that they were in the old logbook in her desk that she didn't take out as much because the lessons were ingrained in her brain. She knew them like the back of her hand. Despite her not having her lesson plans available, he still gave her an excellent review. Now, Ms. Lewis, who's in her second year teaching, she did fairly well. Her class was well behaved and they stayed on task. However, the principal thought that she could have been better organized. And when she was asked about her lesson plans, he noticed that she had some, but he called them sketchy. And he asked her to follow up next week by writing the lesson plans using the correct method and submit it to him in advance for review. And when he gave her observation results, he gave her an average review. So later on that day, Ms. Lewis came back to the principal to make a complaint because her gripe was, how did Ms. Green get a higher rating than me? And Ms. Green doesn't even write her lesson plans, and it's a proven fact. And Ms. Green informed me that after the first year, you really don't need lesson plans, and that's why hers was so sketchy. As I analyze the case, the first question is, what is your opinion of the steps taken by the principal to evaluate Miss Green and Miss Lewis? How would you have acted differently? Well, in my opinion, the steps taken to evaluate Miss Green and Miss Lewis, they were similar in their approach, but the execution was different. The reason I say the execution was different is because they were apparently Miss Green. There weren't as much of a need for her to have her lesson plans available, to the point that he gave her an excellent review. And Miss Lewis, he felt as though maybe because she was a novice teacher that she should have her lesson plans and they should be written correctly, to the point he made her hand them in early so he can review them. And it affected her evaluation. I personally, being in a new district that all teachers don't do lesson plans anymore, at my particular district, once you've been teaching a particular class for more than 3 years, you no longer have to do lesson plans. So I can understand if that was already in the policy as far as teachers with a certain amount of experience no longer having to submit lesson plans because they were proven and established already, whereas novice teachers will still have to present lesson plans for the administrator, or the principal, or the supervisor to review them. The next question is, what is your assessment of Ms. Lewis' objections to her evaluation? I feel as though she has a valid point. As the article states, I would, it's the principal job to set the roles and expectations. It reads here, only by an understanding of these expectations can an administrator anticipate the reception of a specific behavior on his part. So, for example, if the policy has already been established, the teachers know what's expected of them, then there would not have been so much backlash by Ms. Lewis, because she would have known prior to her observation that that if in this particular school district, if we had 3 years of teaching experience, then we're not required to submit lesson plans. And that would have been more acceptable than no policy and Ms. Green getting a higher recommendation. Next, what factors may be influencing the principal objectivity in assessing Ms. Green's and Ms. Lewis' evaluation? Like I said previously, the experience. Also, some other factors is that Ms. Green's been around longer, so they may have a rapport, they may have a relationship. This isn't his first or second time observing her, so he knows what she's capable of, and he's seen what she have done in the past, and it continued to be consistent. Whereas Ms. Lewis is new, and he hasn't had that professional rapport with her, and he just may not know what she's capable of. So until she gets to that point, which I don't believe is right, but until he gets to that point of being comfortable enough for her not to submit her lesson plans, this is what it will hold in store. Oftentimes, we may see administrators are a little harder on the novice teachers to ensure that they, have the best lesson plans, to ensure that they're able to manage their classroom effectively and keep their students engaged and on task. One key important factor that I feel as a principal I would definitely target, I would definitely talk to Ms. Green and about the information she's giving out. In the article it states, or in the case study it states, that Ms. Green informed Ms. Lewis that after the first year, I believe, that you don't even that lesson plans aren't even required. And which can, as a new teacher, you look to your mentor, because Ms. Green was a mentor. You look to your mentor for guidance, direction, and they help you get through those tougher days with even different strategies to implement. So it seems as if Ms. Green is well respected in the teaching community, in her school community, and looked up to, because Ms. Lewis looked up to her because she was her mentor, and she was just following the advice that was delivered through her. On the same token, Ms. Lewis could have followed up that advice given to her by Ms. Green with a supervisor, or asked other teachers in the school community, was this true? Or even when you really don't know, they could have went to the school secretary or to the principal themselves and asked, is this the policy for this particular school, that after your first year, you no longer need to submit lesson plans? The next question, it states, should written lesson plans be required? Should they be daily, weekly, monthly? Like I said, in my district, I think I like the idea of having your lesson plans submitted for the first 3 years of you working in the district, especially if the curriculum has not changed. Upon any change in the curriculum, I would still require novice or veteran teachers to submit lesson plans of the new curriculum. It's a lot of repetition and a lot of repeating. So once the teacher has an idea of the curriculum, there could be modifications but for the most part, they know what is the content being taught. What they can include, if there are any twerks or any tweaks to the curriculum, is maybe they can incorporate more technology or more up-to-date strategies. Maybe they can differentiate it in a different way. In cases like that, if there's a focus that the school is concentrating on or pushing more technology, then I would request those particular lesson plans to be updated to have more of a technology focus in them. What responsibility do administrators and supervisors have for improving the effectiveness and the value of teacher-prepared lesson plans? They play a great role. In my current district, I just changed we changed how we wrote our lesson plans. And it was a little frustrating and a little lengthy at time, but now they help me so much. It helps me review the content prior to delivering the content, which is helpful because now I know what comes next, what should they be getting. I know because the particular curriculum we use, it has a variety of different interventions that can be used to help students' growth and student progress. So they play a great role in strengthening the lesson plan to help strengthen the curriculum. And the best form of classroom management, as we know, is rigor and student engagement. So we can keep our